Hello, and thank you all very much for joining us on today's webinar. I'm Michael Conway of Renaissance, and I'm delighted to have Lorna Berman, who's Distribution and Partnership Manager at usecure, joining us, where we're going to talk about usecure and elevating your cybersecurity offering with uBreach Pro. We're absolutely delighted to have Lorna with us today and to talk through that and to talk through how the opportunities that usecure can offer you and your customers indeed. Just a few housekeeping things for today. All attendees are going to be muted for the session. The session is being recorded. Unfortunately, there are a few people who are unable to attend, so we're going to make it available after this. If you can please enter any questions you may have into the chat or send them directly to myself, then we can take those questions. We can go through them afterwards to make sure that you get exactly what you want out of the session for today. Just a little bit of the structure for the session today. What we're going to do is my introduction, you'll be delighted to know, is nearly over, and it's a brief introduction just in terms of bringing usecure to the marketplace and ensuring that usecure is probably part of your offerings to your customers and your clients, so that they can offer these services to these services to your customers going forward. We've had huge success with usecure. We found that it has been really well received in the Irish market, and it's been absolutely a key opportunity for our partners, yourselves, to offer services to their customers and for you to make a decent revenue stream out of it, which is obviously very important to yourselves. Lorna is going to then kick off with the uBreach Pro and talking about uBreach Pro and give you a demonstration in relation to that. Then we'll have the Q&A, and we'll look to finish at about 3/4 of an hour to give you a little bit more of your time back. But please make this as interactive as possible from your point of view, so you get the maximum benefit out of it. So without further ado, I'll pass you on to Lorna, and Lorna can take you through things. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, so for those that might not be over familiar with usecure and myself, so as Michael alluded to, I am the Global Distribution Manager for usecure, and we are a provider of security awareness training. We've been around for a number of years now, and we literally educate around 200,000 users per month upon our platform. We've been partnered with Renaissance since 2021, and we have a really good list of accreditations, particularly highly accredited with G2, and we're recognised in multiple categories with them, and we are a strong player with CompTIA and the Channel Programme. So more about what we can do for you. So we offer a comprehensive platform providing security awareness training and management. Our core products are built specifically for the MSP community, so it makes your job a lot easier. It comprises of 4 different modules. So the first one is uLearn, that's our core product, and that will deliver a library of automated learning courses that are designed specifically for your users' individual needs. We effectively understand each user and their gaps in cybersecurity. Everybody has weak points, and we use bite-sized e-learning to systematically work through those particular weak points. So if we know your finance director is weak with phishing, we'll deliver them training on phishing. Paired up with that is uPhish. So that provides phishing simulations, again, which can be automated. We send targeted phishing campaigns out to your clients and staff members to see how well they're being taught and how much they are learning. In turn, phishing is still the most common threat vector, and it's still a really high concern to business. So it allows you to assess people's responses in a safer environment. uPolicy, we all know policies are a challenge. You can use uPolicy, and this automates the distribution and signing, which then in turn helps making compliance headaches go away. It's all audited, so it's a document management tool. And as MSPs, I'm sure you're being asked more and more to help with defence and compliance and reducing cyber insurance premiums, for instance. So uPolicy allows you to send documentation to your clients. It tracks when they view them, and it tracks when they sign it. So that will help tick those boxes. uBreach is our dark web monitoring tool. So this makes users aware of what we find out in the dark web. A lot of users may not understand what the dark web means for them. So we help you to help them understand by demonstrating this pretty much in black and white. We integrate with You've pwned, so we scan against the user's email against that database and we report what we see. So everything we do is around user awareness. The entire focus of our organisation is to help MSPs to identify gaps in your client base when it comes to human risk, and then minimise that risk over time through continuous reinforcement. All of our architecture has been built by ourselves, and it's designed to make it as easy as possible for you to scale out the product and continuously manage it for your customers. It's all wrapped around complete automation. So part of our MSP focus is the whole point is you can set this up really quickly. It takes about 20 minutes per client. Once it's set up, it will run itself in the background and continually monitor and reduce your risk. So what we're talking about today is our enhanced uBreach Pro, which is an upgrade to uBreach. Why do we need dark web monitoring? We realise that dark web is being used increasingly by attackers. They are pretty much getting an advantage over companies because they use the data to create more sophisticated phishing attacks. What we've done is we've spent a lot of time cultivating this product, and it allows us much deeper insights into the dark web. It gathers a lot more data, and it gives us and you in turn more actionable items and processes to follow. That enables us to get ahead of the attackers and minimize the threat. Before we go through the actual functionality that's included, it's important to take stock of why we built this and why you as an MSP are able to offer this type of service to your clients. Often we find clients themselves, when they hear about the dark web, it seems a little bit abstract. A lot of your clients will be non-technical, so they deem dark web sort of operating in places that we don't understand. So ultimately, we need to make them understand 86% of breaches involve stolen credentials, including usernames and passwords. So a huge number of breaches are very, very targeted. And if you can explain that workflow to your clients, we can relate to them, and that means that it enables them to report and understand how these phishing attacks are developed. A big reason is because companies are getting breached now daily. Within those breaches, there's a good chance that clients and staff are going to be then involved in them. So attackers use the information and use all of this breach data. Together with AI tooling, they can collect the information quickly and again build targeted attacks on organisations really efficiently. So 2 or 3 years ago, these spear phishing attacks were rare, but now they're increasing every day. All the data that's out there and the tooling allows them to use this to their advantage. So we make your life a little bit easier if we can match our clients, explain first, regardless of their understanding, how to utilise our platform, then it prevents the attackers obviously using that in turn. With the uBreach core functionality, that is enhanced with the uBreach Pro upgrade. So dark web monitoring services, obviously they can be quite challenging. The feedback that we've had is they're not necessarily adaptable for the MSP channel. So we have developed this platform to take advantage of that. So a lot of the big vendors out there offer multi-year contracts. You have to sign up for a minimum of possibly 2 or 3 years. They don't have the right support for you guys, and they don't really scale properly for you. So it can be quite prohibitive. A lot of the partners out there know they need to offer the service, but not all vendors offer monthly billing for MSPs. So we know it's really tricky. So what we do is we try and provide reliable data and consistently keep you up to date with the breaches. Traditional monitoring services are really expensive, which then makes that cost for you as MSPs quite prohibitive. High entry level costs and a huge number of domains will obviously then increase your costs. So we realized very quickly that we need to develop a tool to make your return on investment easy. We believe we're unique to the MSP market, and we are MSP focused. So what I'll do is in a minute, I'll jump into a demo of the platform. Excuse me. But this is essentially a high level overview of some of the key features that we provide. Part of the development work for uBreach Pro, we've built for our own purposes. It's a dedicated database that we have created from scratch. If your client has staff members who may be on the training, what if they go on maternity leave or sabbatical? You need to be able to scan those users that aren't necessarily active. So we enable uBreach Pro to pull that information through. There could be somebody that's left the organization a few months ago, but that person may still be involved in breaches. So by scanning against your company domain, we've got comprehensive coverage on those organizations. It's also really important that you're notified about the breaches as soon as they happen. Predominantly, we want to minimize that window from when a breach occurs to when you're notified, so the attacker finds out too late about you. So as soon as we had a breach that affects your organization, we will notify you through this system. It's a really good way for you to be able to mitigate the risk, but it also keeps your client in the loop and shows really, really good value. Sometimes these dark web monitoring tools, when they work in the background, the client doesn't even know that they're providing the service for you. With automation and alerting, we help with that. So we let you know about breaches immediately. That in turn reinforces your extra value of adding that additional layer of security. A large part of that is being able to show partial breach data. So one of the main risks with dark web is people having the password repeatedly breached. We all know people get a bit lazy, they reuse the same passwords, and obviously attackers will spot that trend. So through, Microsoft Teams, etc., they can then send a sophisticated phishing attack through there. What we do is we demonstrate the partial data that we find. So if we know the password was involved in that breach, we'll show you the first and last letter. That allows you to track trends on individual users. So it will become clear if somebody is using the same password repeatedly. Again, this for you as an MSP means you can provide extra value. Rather than showing a category of a breach, you can say, I know that person uses this sort of password structure. One of the main benefits is it sits in the same space as your cyber weapons program. So we can remediate these vulnerabilities really, really easily. If we find out about a new breach, we can force a password reset for that client. So anybody involved in that breach has to set out a new password throughout their internal channels. We can send them on training on the correct email usage via uLearn. So we can guide them on how to create passwords. We can send them a phishing attack via uPhish because we know that's a high vulnerability user. We can tailor the phishing attacks to that person based on the type of data we found on them. We can also send them the policies via uPolicy. So we'll send them the document that says, look, this is what you should be doing with your work email. And here's the sort of correct password construction guidelines you need. And that's the way we can use uBreach to weave together the rest of the product to make sure that we're providing that comprehensive suite. You can log the mediation stack in the system. So if you look at the date, we can remediate the risk. So if your client then gets audited, you can show the auditor that you're monitoring those vulnerabilities. Apologies. Additionally, you're being proactive, and that is key. So what I would do now is give you a quick tour of the platform. Hopefully you can all see that. So here is the main landing page, and as you will see, the breaches are being detected. You have your domain list, which can be applied. So remember, we're scanning against both the organization domain and the individual user emails as well. So we've got an overall summary of the company. Additionally, we have your users. So you will notice here we have non-system users. So what we present is the ability to flip between breaches involved with the user and what's exposed. And then we can send that user training, which then takes steps to remediate that risk. And we can mark the risk as resolved over here. There's a very clear audit trail, and it shows the date that was resolved. And each user has a risk score. So if we remediate the breaches, then that lowers the risk score. So it's all about forming a cohesive program where you can prove to your client over time you are taking steps to minimize their risk. And again, if new breaches are found, the admins can be notified. It keeps everybody on their toes, and it keeps companies aware of their responsibilities and that they shouldn't be using their work email to sign up for lots of different services. So again, it helps with the education piece. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat today. So we will jump into a non-system user here. So here you will see Emma has got 2 breaches against these applications. You can view, and here it will demonstrate what information has been exposed from her personal identifiable information. So it will show that ENS has been used and passwords beginning in B, ending D. And again, you can scroll through each of these to see for every user. Again, as I mentioned, markers resolved. You can then say, okay, which ones? Yes, both. So you will put in there 2 and then flag it. And that will then remediate your risk score. It shows the last breach dates, so it's really comprehensive. So to set up, it's really easy. So you literally go to your settings, uBreach. And here you define your domains that you require. And you can specify your alerts. So this is really helpful, particularly with new starters. You can onboard them and then check whether they have any data out there. So it actively monitors. We can also schedule monthly, quarterly, or annual reports to go out to each client automatically, and that will tell your client how many breaches we found. So it breaks down the individual breaches in more detail. So you don't have to sit down and explain the client what Adobe Breach entails. It will give them all of the information there at an executive level, uncomplicated, so they will understand it. Again, we can send out effective users in a summary, and again, non-system users. So I think you'll agree what usecure try and provide is a really quick and easy solution for you as MSPs to be able to deliver dark web monitoring in an affordable state. Let me just go back. So the other key level for you is the licensing model. The upgrade is designed to be, again, quick and easy. It's scalable, as with our core product, and it's flexi monthly billing. So we don't have to do annual contracts. The entry level tier for uBreach Pro allows you to scan up to 50 domains. So that's a really good ceiling height. So at just over €200 a month, you can then tie that in across your client base to leverage a decent return on investment. Once you hit 50 domains, you will then move into the next tier, but you will be warned. So when you get close to those 50 domains, you'll get an alert 3 times as you are getting closer and closer before that flicks over. So if you've maybe got somebody that has got this but not utilizing it, you can flip between the clients. We're finding a lot of our partners are charging their clients on a flat basis. So maybe around 50 per domain per month, €50. So essentially that sort of equates to £600 a year for the dark web monitoring. It means you can realize if you onboard 3 or 4 clients, you can get a profit. So we try and keep the pricing as competitive we possibly can. So it's quick and simple. Obviously, with the rest of for those that use usecure, you'll know the platform is really simple to navigate and deploy. Again, security is our focus. So a large part of selling security comes from data. It's easy for clients to have a bit of a mental block. So we show them case studies on different breaches until it happens to them. It's quite easily for them to say, oh, we don't have to do this. It's not really a priority. But with our really good prospecting tool, the domain scan, you can put a client's domain in with 5 email addresses, and this will deliver a report on them. So it will give you tangible evidence around what they could potentially be exposed to. So this is a really good way of lead generation for your prospecting. So if we have the password, as we say, we'll show the first and last letter. The idea is you can just present this to them, the senior management team, and just say, look, you might not be technical, but this is what we found. These are the risks that you face. If the attackers can find it, then that will then pose a threat. So you are providing that remediation combined with a continual training program and testing. All this helps enhance your security provision. So what we also like is our peer reviews. So here you'll see G3 in G3 comparison against the largest players. We've come out top in every category. We're really, really proud of this. A lot of percentages are neighbouring 100% approval. So it's made us become sort of talked about as the leader in the space and a high performer. It's also tagged us as one of the easiest to administrate, as well as the data here. It was pulled down. This data is from the core product of uBreach. So it hasn't even took into consideration the upgrade of uBreach Pro and the power that can deliver. It's simply just an email scan and category of information, but with uBreach Pro, and our own database. This enables you to deliver to your clients more comprehensive reporting. So we really feel that this has cemented our position in this space. And how we can support you. So we're quite proud of the fact that we have a very interactive relationship with all of our MSPs. You know, you will have a dedicated account manager. I'm sure those that already use usecure know exactly who yours are. We support you around pre-sales. So any demonstrations, we're happy to lead these for you. You can shadow them. You can partner with us. By us assisting you with the demos, it enables you to learn constantly about new trends, new threats, how we present them. So that keeps you up to speed with what usecure can provide. If you can understand the product, then it makes it so much easier for you to convey that to your clients in the sales process. So it maximizes everybody's ability to sell this. We've got a live chat, which is the little green box on the left right hand side. So we tend to respond within 5-10 minutes, and you'll get to a human. So we literally are very active, and one of our biggest key points is the fact that our support is great. Along with that is marketing and sales. So we have a full resource hub. You can white label your own collateral. So we make available PDFs. We've got we've got demos there of each module. So again, you know, we can build the brand out with you. And the final piece is, you know, we can offer the free trial. And for you as MSPs, you get a free NFR. So for the lifetime of your active account, you get a free NFR to use yourselves. So effectively, that is usecure. And if that's all from me, so I'll open the floor up if anybody has any questions.
So thank you very much, Lorna. Firstly, thanks very much for that great overview. Let you get that frog back in your throat.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Get a glass of water in. I guess just if I can make maybe a couple of comments from a Renaissance point of view, our experience working with usecure has been absolutely fantastic, and the experience that we've had with our partners, your people like yourselves, has been really, really fantastic. Lorna and the team are very very willing, available, able, and want to get involved in helping you develop and drive your business. But a couple of questions that have come into me here, and please, if anybody else has any questions, please raise them as well. But just before maybe I get to those, just a couple of points that I've seen there and brought out specifically, or you know, what I would say is that usecure is absolutely probably the most MSP friendly technology that we have come across, and we see all the various technologies out there in the marketplace. We see the whole area of people looking at breaches and how they're going to actually get dark web information for their clients and for their customers, and that challenge and that question is asked all the time, but people want to get it in an effective way, in a way that they can actually they can use it to give value to their customers. And I think one of the points that Lorna makes heavily there, you know, it's proactive. It's a very proactive engagement, if you like, with usecure and usecure Pro. It's automation. There's automation there. There's alerting there, so that actually allows you to give that sort of that value out there in a sensible way. I like also the point that you make. It's effective and quick and easy, and that's absolutely been our experience. But let me come to some of the questions that have been raised. Are there any industries that tend to get targeted, or any specific sectors that tend to have focus put on them?
So historically, years ago, it always used to be national critical infrastructure, and then it's sort of slowly tailored down. So any organisation really can be targeted. cyber attacks are now really, really common within the sort of mid-small business. Companies in finance, healthcare, education, manufacturing, they tend to get targeted the most, usually because of their data is so valuable to them. So really, no, there's not.
Nothing specific. Yeah, and one of the things that we've seen in terms of anecdotally, in terms of experience that organisations have had in Ireland, has been that the individual can often get targeted as an employee, and if their data gets compromised as an employee, and even has a personal breach, if you like, from their point of view, in terms of their data compromising their own bank accounts and their own PayPal accounts or whatever it may be, that can actually cause serious issues from a work point of view. But that's just anecdotal. So we see breaches occurring throughout every sector. Is there a question here? Is there a scheduled report available that will give you the full details of what's been included in the breach?
Sorry there, Michael. I had a bit of an outage there, so I missed that. Would you mind repeating?
Sorry, yeah, you're back in. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, is there a scheduled report available that'll give you the full details of what has been included in a breach, and not only the summary details?
No. As a security company, we don't include the specific details. So if that report, for instance, got accidentally sent to the wrong person or fell into the wrong hands, that would be really detrimental. So we provide a summary of the breach and the outlining metrics, and sort of number of users, impacts, categories, and then we enable you to react on that. But as a security company, we deemed it inappropriate to send out the full details.
Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. And a question here about coming back to the reporting and the alerts is, can the uBreach Pro alerts be sent to the IT manager of the customer rather than to the end user or to somebody within that organization?
Yeah, so there's a number of settings. So you can either send an email to each affected user. You can send new users an alert notification if breaches are picked up for their email address. And for the summary ones, we can send a list of effective users in the breach alert summary email, or include a list of effective non-system users in a breach alert summary, so that there is a number of options that can be directed to various people.
So it can be tailored very much to suit whatever the client or the customer requires.
Exactly.
Excellent. And can you monitor personal email addresses for senior staff members? So I guess, and this is an interesting one that we've seen a question being asked before in terms of such as Gmail accounts, etc.
Yeah, we'll show which breaches have been found and the category of the information. Again, we won't be able to dig deeper into the specifics of that. Otherwise, people can just add random personal emails and get breach data. So yes, it is achievable.
Excellent, because again, we've seen that sort of question being asked again by organisations and saying their senior management. So, and we've seen that as a target, if you like, in many organisations, so that the senior staff members are at a personal level are being attacked, and that's compromising the organisation itself. So
yeah, and you quite often find that senior management don't believe they're part of the bigger picture, so they'll think they're sort of above everybody else. But actually, they're really commonly targeted these days, because if they can find out some embarrassing information about the CEO and send out a nice little ransomware email, then it's incredibly tempting to those cyber criminals. So yeah, I've seen that increase quite a lot over the last 3 years, particularly. So yeah.
That brings a smile to my face, and I imagine it brings a smile to many of our partners' faces when they try to explain to some of their customers that the senior people actually need to look after themselves as well. And I won't ask for any comments, but I've certainly heard some very interesting anecdotes and stories of how senior people think they may be sometimes a little bit above the bad guys, but in fact, they are actually often the target for the bad guys, because they have the keys to the kingdom, or the keys to the bank account, depending on what way it's looked at. Because the bad guys are after the money. Question here, in terms of domains, and I know you covered domains in a number of areas. Is there a limit on how many domains are monitored per customer?
No, absolutely not. You can add as many as you like.
Okay, so that gives capability then, but that's how you bill that, as, or how the MSP handles the billing. That's really up to them.
Yeah.
And how they charge. And we do know that MSPs have, and I know it was raised in Lorna's slide there, that there can be up to 5 times the ROI, if you like, in terms of the billing versus the cost to an MSP. But I know in many cases other MSPs are getting more significant ROIs than that, if you like. So because that is between you and how you handle it with your client. But it's so, and that has been a particularly interesting part of our experience from a Renaissance point of view with our partners, yourselves, if you like, out there, in terms of taking usecure to the market. It's been a really strong opportunity for partners to generate good margin and also good retention within their customers, because they're heavily involved in their customers' organization and their business. And particularly if you're starting to send a lot of reports, giving them, you're heavily interacting with their customers. A question here: how do you make sure clients stay on board with usecure from a long-term point of view?
Well, you really want to try and make sure that the program that we offer is part of your standard process. Once you get that automation in place, to ensure every new user is enrolled and every staff member is receiving the training and the phishing simulations, you tie that in with the company policies, so there's a clear audit trail. It allows you to embed that working process and that culture. And then they just get into a habit of just continually engaging with our learning programs. We do once a month, very brief snippets of learning. So literally the courses take, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, if that. usecure ourselves, we obviously do them internally, and it takes no time at all, and you just have a nice little animated course, quite fun. We keep it as light-hearted as security can be. Few questions, tick tick tick, you get a certificate, you move on. And I think that just continuous reporting and training just eventually just becomes part of your daily life. So that's what we find, a lot of people tying in all 4 core modules keeps it sticky.
Yeah, and that's again something that we've heard anecdotally from many of our partners. Like when you learn uFish, uPolicy, and uBreach and uBreach Pro in there, you're actually giving the customer a whole bunch of interactions, and that makes it really heavily part of the involvement and what's happening on a day-to-day basis in the organization and the customer. So it keeps you fairly well tied down. I think they were the key questions that I have there. Unless there's any other questions come in, I think you had one slide there, Lorna, which was just a link for people if they wish to get a free NFR license. So maybe if you want to pop that up.
Yeah, let me get that up. Here we go.
And this is what I would recommend, is everybody gets hold of an NFR license for their own purposes anyway, to try. It's a 4-in-1 solution. There's a lot in there. There's flexible licensing. There's no commitment, so it's the simplest thing to do. But if anybody wishes to scan that, certainly work away. But if they talk to the Renaissance account manager or anybody from the Renaissance team, and anybody indeed from the usecure team, we'll organize to get that stuff to them. So please, look, what I'm going to do is I'll cut this off in another minute or so, but thank everybody very much for attending today. Hopefully you've all got something out of it. Hopefully you have something that can take to your organizations and your business and can drive and develop your business going forward, and indeed make more nice profit for yourselves, but also keep your customers safe and secure, and keep you more tightly embedded with your customers, which is, I know, is a key objective of all of you and all of our partners. So thank you very much. Please contact the Renaissance team. The Renaissance team will no doubt will follow up after this session. The session will be made available online, so that if anybody you believe it makes sense to look at the session, please contact the Renaissance team, and it'll be available on demand. So thank you very much, and thank you, Lorna. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I hope it's been of interest, and obviously any questions, direct them through Renaissance, or obviously you've got my details, you can come through to me directly. Happy to help.
Thank you. Thanks all.